Hello and welcome to Phases the Next Level. I'm your host, Valette Sunshine, and I'm so excited to be here. I am so excited to be sitting here with my guest, Nikki. She is from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and she reached out and said that she's ready to tell her story. And we should have some Kleenexes here because it is a story to tell, but we just both are in agreement that the story is going to help her to continue to heal and then help others as well, just like we always do here in Phases the Next Level. So we're going to get started. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any comments, leave them down at the bottom. Remember to subscribe, like, and share, and please tune in. And if you have a story, please reach out so that we can get it done. All right, Nikki, so thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. So, Nikki, just tell me a little bit about your growing up and your upbringing. Was I right, from Tulsa?
I actually grew up in Miami.
So that's what we have in common. I didn't grow up in Miami, but I went to NEO-A&M College.
Me too.
I saw that, yeah. So we have that in common. So you grew up in Miami.
I grew up in Miami. I have the two brothers and three sisters. I grew up with my mom and my stepdad. It's pretty normal.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty normal upbringing. My mom worked, and my stepdad was kind of abusive towards my mom.
But not to you guys.
No, not to us. We had a pretty normal life from what we could see.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they kind of hid the abusive stuff like from us kids.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So so you went on to go to college?
Yes, I went to college.
NEO.
Mhm.
Okay, and then after college, what did you do? What was your plan after college?
Well, my plan was to finish college, but I didn't finish college. I started having kids at a very young age. I had 4 kids by the time I was 20. So that's pretty much what I did from ages like 16 to 20. I was having kids. So.
But you still tried to go to college,
Yes.
so that was good with having kids already.
Yeah, I had a full-time job. I was going to school full-time.
Wow.
And then
That's a lot.
yeah, that is a lot. I was doing pretty well, and then my kids' dad started. Our relationship just went crazy, went downhill.
And what do you think started the problem with your dad? Because let's back up. So was the relationship good while you were having kids and in the beginning? Because all relationships are good in the beginning. So was it a healthy relationship at first?
Of course.
Okay.
We met when we were 15. Our relationship was, we were kids.
Yeah.
Our relationship was good. But then when I got pregnant, things started to change.
Okay. Are all your kids with the same?
3 of them.
Okay. And so how long did your relationship last?
We were together for 5 years.
For 5 years. Oh, that's good to be so young to
Yeah.
be with the same person for 5 years. So where did it start to fall? After the 3rd kid or
When I
during
was
that?
pregnant with the 2nd child,
Okay.
he started being just possessive,
Mhm.
jealous, very controlling. He drank a lot, and he was using drugs, and I didn't know.
What drugs was he using?
He was using meth.
Okay. So you weren't aware of that?
No, I just thought it was the alcohol.
Right.
I just thought it was a drinking problem.
Right, because both of them, alcohol or drugs, will alter the mind,
Yeah.
change who you are. So, okay, so he was using drugs, and then so he became mean
Yeah, he
to you?
yes.
Or to you and the kids?
Just to me.
Okay.
He was very abusive. The first time he was abusive, I was 7.5 months pregnant, and we had gotten an argument in the car, and I had jumped out of the car and
Pregnant? 7 months pregnant.
7 months pregnant.
Oh, gosh.
I had jumped out of the car, and he had chased me in the car, and I had run up to somebody's door knocking and screaming, and he had just picked me up and tried to drag me back to the car, but I was making so much noise that he let me go.
Right.
The police came, and they took me back to my car, and he had then sliced all of my tires
By the time you got there?
by the time I had got there.
Okay. Oh, gosh.
So I had to call my mom, or I had to call my stepdad
Right.
at 2 in the morning.
Is this in Miami?
Yes.
Miami? Okay.
And then my stepdad had to come and pick me up. And then the next day we had to get all new tires for my car.
So at that time, did you press charges on him?
No.
Okay, so then did you get back with him after
Yes.
that? Okay. And we do that. We do that because we love them.
Yeah,
right?
he said he was sorry. He loves me. He's gonna, you know.
Still using drugs though? He was
Still, I'm not sure if he was using drugs at that point.
Mhm.
I think it was just alcohol at that point.
Okay.
But later on, he was started with the drugs.
Okay, so let's talk about you. So he's gone. Let's fast forward. You're no longer in a relationship with him. Why did it end?
It ended. It ended because the abuse got so bad. When I was about 8 months pregnant, I found out he was cheating.
Mm-hmm.
So I told him, like, you're not going to be, you know, cheating on me. And then coming back home, I'm pregnant.
Right.
You have to go somewhere else. Because he had moved in with me and my mom. Because I had just turned 18.
Right.
And I had went to drop him off. And we pulled up to a stop sign. And that's when he began to punch me. He punched me probably 3 times
Mm-hmm.
in my eye, busted my lip. And then there was a man, an old man outside, like screaming, like, hey, you know, what's
Yeah.
going on? And the kid's dad then pushed me out of the car and took off in my car.
And you're pregnant.
And I'm 8 months pregnant. And I looked down at the sidewalk, and all I could see, because it was early in the morning, so my shadow was on the road.
Right.
All I could see was like a big something coming out of my face. Well, I woke up in the hospital. I didn't remember the ambulance ride. I was like knocked out.
Right.
I woke up in the hospital with a police officer with a video camera in my face.
Mm-hmm.
And they had, you know, straps on my stomach and stuff because
the baby.
making sure the baby was okay. And they said she went through like some trauma, but she was gonna be fine.
Yeah.
And then when I went to the car, I saw my face in the mirror reflection.
Right.
And it looked like there was a baseball inside my eye. My eye was out to here. Like,
This is from him punching you?
Yes.
Punching you?
this, I don't know if you can see the scar because I have makeup on, but yeah, I had to get my face glued back. Had to get a tetanus shot.
Because of the tetanus for the, any infections or whatever.
Yeah, because there was some, I guess, a piece of metal from the car
Was in there?
they didn't know, but they wanted just to make sure. Yeah.
Okay. So then what do you do? What's next? Is he gone? Is this it?
Nope.
So he came back, apologizing.
Came back apologizing. I'm gonna change. I'm gonna do better.
After this horrible beating.
Yes.
Which child was this?
This was the second child.
So your second child. Okay. So he's back.
Mhm.
You accept his apology.
I accept his apology.
What happens next?
What happens next? I have the baby. You know, she's healthy. He's there when I have the baby. He shows up to the hospital. He leaves. Tells me he's going to go eat or something, whatever. He comes back to the hospital drunk, crying, upset, like just, I don't know if it's because he couldn't handle a baby. I don't know.
Right.
But so that was a disaster.
Because this is his second baby now, right?
Well, this is my first child has the
Okay,
the
gotcha.
different father.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
So this is pretty much his first baby.
Okay.
And then we get back together, you know, everything's fine, and my mom says, hey, why don't you guys spend, you know, a couple hours alone, let me watch the baby. This is 2 weeks after I had her.
Okay.
Had Jasmine. So as we're going to pick her up after we, you know, hang out with our friends, we're in the car, and he punches me in the face, says, get in the back seat. You want to have fun with your friends and laugh at me, and just like his mind was just crazy. Like,
Was he drunk then again?
Yeah, he was.
So every time that he abused you, was he drunk?
At first.
Okay, so
And
I'm
then
sorry. Just go ahead.
it just started to be an everyday thing.
So your mom's giving you a break
Mhm.
and saying you guys go spend some good time together, and he beats you.
He beat me up.
He's knocking you up beside your face and beating you up
Mhm.
at that point. And you said he was drunk.
Mhm.
How did you escape that?
I escaped that. The night goes on.
Right.
We are driving, and he's like driving to Baxter Springs. That's kind of close to Miami.
Mhm.
And he's saying, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to take you out here. Nobody's going to find your body. Nobody's going to know where you're at.
Oh my God.
And then we ran out of gas. And he said, and we were like on the highway. And he said, Nicole, if you try to stop any of these cars, I'm going to kill you right here. He was so angry. And so I get out of the car. And mind you, I just had a baby,
Right.
like 2 weeks.
Yes.
You know, so my body's weak. I'm
Yes.
tired. You know, can't move around that good. And there's these cornfields and these cabbage fields.
Mhm.
And he drags me and beats me through these fields. Like, and it took us like 2 hours to get to the other side of town.
Because you're walking.
Because we're walking.
And he won't let you call or
I didn't have.
ask for
I lost
help.
my shoes. I didn't have my phone.
because he's dragging you.
Yes. So I got to the point where once I would be on the ground, he was like kicking me and like picking up like matted rock, like dirt and sticks and like throwing them on my face. And I got to the point where he would leave me and then keep walking, and I would just act like I was
out of it.
out of it. So he would leave me alone.
Yes.
But then he would come back and he would pick me up and be like, "Oh, I love you. I'm sorry." Yeah. And then I would walk, and when I was crying, it would make him mad because I was crying. So then he'd start beating me again. Yeah, we finally got to a payphone, and I called his sister, and his sister came and picked me up and took me home.
Okay. Call the police on him?
The police were actually there,
Okay.
and we just told them that we ran out of gas and we had to walk and da-da-da-da-da.
So did they not see that you were beat up?
No,
They didn't do
I mean,
anything at that point?
they didn't do anything at that point because he told me if I say anything,
Right.
you know,
So you're scared.
yeah, scared to death.
Yeah, I hope that you didn't feel like, because we always blame ourselves for what we go through, and that it wasn't your fault that he kept beating you up, even though you said you accepted his apology, and it wasn't your fault. Did you ever blame yourself for it, for him beating you up, or did you know that this is not me, it's something with him?
I knew it was something with him pretty much. Most of the time, I was like, this is just not right. Like the only thing I would do wrong is like I would yell at him, I would argue with him, but that's
Not a reason to
that's
to
not
put
a
his hands
reason,
on you.
yeah.
Okay, so then you get through the cornfield, all that's done, that's past you. Fast forward, another baby comes.
Not yet.
Okay, what happens in between after the cornfield?
After the cornfield, about a week later, he tells me he's done drinking. We're separated for a week, and I said, okay, we'll see how this goes. He goes to his sister's and gets drunk, and his sister, he was supposed to be home at like 7 o'clock. Hey, you didn't come home. And his sister had called me and asked me, hey, is he at your house? Because he just left, and he's drunk, and he said he's coming to your house. She said, I want you to call the police.
Right.
Now, this is his sister.
Uh-huh.
So I called the police, and I have a restraining order on him at this time. And I let
Good.
them know I have a restraining order, and he's on his way, and I have the baby, and I'm scared. And they said, well, the only thing we can do is patrol your house. Well, at that time, I seen a shadow like walk across the blinds, and my doorbell rang.
It was him.
And I was like, I'm gonna die.
Oh,
He's
God.
here. And he was banging on the door, open the, cussing,
Yeah.
open the door, let me in. And I went and I picked up the baby because I knew like if I was holding her, he's probably not gonna hit me. And then the door just flew open. He had kicked it open, because we still had house phones, ripped the cord out of the wall. So it hung up the 911 call, and he was just yelling, put her down, I'm gonna kill you, get her stuff, I'm taking her to my mom. You guys tried to set me up.
Oh, poor baby.
Because my friend lived in the other apartments across from me, and she was like, well, if anything happens, you can come over here or just
Right.
flip your porch
Right.
light. Well, he was under the stairs listening to that.
Mhm.
So he thought that we had this plan. No, it wasn't a plan.
Right.
They were just trying to make sure that I was safe.
Right.
So then the cops came. I managed to put the door back up, and he said, just tell them it was somebody else and I'll go hide. I said, okay, go hide in the closet. And then that's when I finally told the police, like, hey, he's in the closet.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
So you did tell he was in the closet.
Yeah.
Okay. They get him.
He went to jail for 1 year, and then he got out.
Then what?
Then I got pregnant again.
So he came back.
I was there to pick him
That's
up.
okay. It's okay.
I was
So
there to
that's
pick him up.
You went to get him. Well, a year in jail, you can change if you really want to. So did he make the change?
No, it just got worse.
It got worse?
It got worse. It got worse. I worked graveyard shift. I quit going to school. I went and took out 5 loans to pay for him to go to
Yeah.
rehab, for his probation, his fines, court, everything.
Right.
And so all he had to do was stay at home at night and watch the girls while I went to work. And he didn't. He would
At
take
any
them.
at any point that he was doing drugs, were you doing drugs at all at that point?
No,
Okay.
I had no idea. I didn't even suspect drugs
Okay.
because I had never been around
Right.
drugs.
So it was just really the drinking that you thought was
Mhm.
wrong. Okay. So you're working grave shift.
Mhm.
He's keeping the kids.
Mhm.
What's his reason for it?
He
He really never had a reason, so
No.
we can't say that.
never really had a reason. He would cheat on me all the time, and I would find out. And then of course I'm gonna,
Yes.
what is this? What is this?
Absolutely.
You know, and then we would fight, or
Yeah.
I'd cook dinner, and he'd go to his mom's house and eat, and then he'd come back, and I'm like, well, what the heck? And we would,
Wow.
like, he would beat me up over little, like, every day, every single day it was something.
So the year he was in jail, was it for domestic violence on you?
Yes, he got 1 year in county, and then they gave him 15 years on paper.
15 years on paper. Okay. So he's still beating you up and it's even worse.
Yeah, it's getting worse. The kids are getting,
Or is he doing it in front of the kids?
oh yeah, doing it in front of the kids so close that, like, Jasmine was getting hurt. He had punched me in the face so hard one day. We had a big queen size bed with,
Mm-hmm.
the columns or whatever,
Mhm.
and Jasmine was sitting next to me, and she's only one.
Right.
And he punched me so hard that I flew into her, and she hit the pole on the bed and gashed her head
Now
up.
this is his daughter,
Yes.
and he's doing this in front of his kids.
Oh yeah. And then the second time, he had punched me over something stupid, over gas in the car. And I flew into Jasmine, and she scraped her face from her chin to her forehead
Aw.
on the carpet.
Did anybody ever say anything about the baby getting hurt? Like, were they like, okay, Nikki, you better fix it, or, you know, because the baby's getting hurt now? Or did she was one, so did she always stay home and like didn't go to daycare or anything like that?
Yeah, she went to
Like,
daycare. Daycare knew.
They knew.
They knew, and they knew, you know, they asked, do we need to call the police? They wouldn't call DHS or nothing like that on me,
Mhm.
because they knew, like, I was
That when you, yeah.
I was a really good mom, and they were scared, so they just did. And the daycare family was like my family.
Yeah.
You know,
Got it.
so they didn't ever want to. They just asked me, like, well, we'll do whatever you want us to do to help
Mhm.
you. You know, they wouldn't go and call the police without asking me first, or you know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Um,
So, okay, so he's doing it worse. Then what next? I mean, is it just beatings day in, day out?
beatings all the time. He would come home, and one night I found out that he was cheating on me.
Mm-hmm.
And he was on top of me, and he thought I was the other girl. So this time I played a little role and kind of changed my voice
Mhm.
and acted like I was the girl,
Right.
to see what I could get out of him.
Right.
Well, then I said, well, what about the babies? And I said, you know, our kids' names.
Mhm.
And then he looked at me and realized
It was you.
it was me. So I managed to get him off of me, and I had never, out of all the times I got beat, I never hit him back.
Mm.
I would always cover my face, because he would always tell me, like, I'm gonna mess your face up.
Right.
Nobody's gonna want you. You know,
Right.
I'm gonna mess up your face. So I never hit him back. I just protected my face.
He had total control over you.
Yeah.
At that point, I mean, from the time that you guys got together to the point of whenever he went away, he had total control over you.
Total.
And you guys were so young.
Mhm.
It just seems like it was something within him. Yes, I mean, I know people drink, they're alcoholics, and people do drugs, but to beat somebody day in, day out, and in front of the children,
In front of them.
and for no reason, it was something going on with him.
Yeah.
So at what point did he, so you said, so where does it end, where the police is called? Because if he's on 15 years paper and you've called the police, does he go back to jail for domestic violence?
He went back the last time. He went back for something else.
Okay.
But the last time was when he hit me with the vacuum cleaner. Our daughter was in a baby seat, an infant car seat, because she was like 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
And we were arguing because I'd come home from work at 2:30 in the morning on my lunch, and they were gone.
Oh, God.
Because he would take the girls to his mom's, and they
Mhm.
would go run them up.
Right.
So I left a note,
Mhm.
like, you know, explain to me where you were at 2:30 in the morning, and
Right.
when I came home, I got beat really bad for the note.
Now, were the girls there yet?
Yeah.
Back- they were back
Yeah.
home? Okay.
They were still she was still in her car seat, because they had just got home when I got home. And the baby was in between us, and he
Mhm.
picked up the vacuum cleaner and hit me, and I covered my head. I had a bruise from, like, I had 2 fractured ribs from my armpit to my.
Hit you with the long part of the vacuum?
The
or
whole vacuum
just
cleaner.
picked up, oh my gosh.
And the baby was in between us. And
Uh-huh.
at that point, I said, I'm done.
Yes.
I said, like, this has been going on for years. Like, the kids are getting hurt. Jasmine's acting out.
Mhm.
She's, like, being violent to her sister, and her sister was just a baby.
Yeah.
Like, the kids are, you know, you can tell that something's not right. Like, my mom would come over, and I would just be, like, real, you know, short with her. Had to watch what I say. I can't laugh with her. Lost all my friends. Couldn't go anywhere.
Mm. because he had control over you.
He had control
And if
over
you
me.
did, then that's another beating.
Yeah.
So how did your mom help you? I mean, was she there, or she was scared of him too, or where was your stepdad? I mean, who helped you?
Nobody really.
Mhm.
I was pretty much on my own.
Just in there on your own getting beat up.
His mom felt sorry for me. She would tell me like I need to leave him and
Mhm.
stuff. And my mom was just so mad. She's like, every time my phone rings at work,
She worried.
she's thinking, oh, it's you. You know, something's happened. She's gonna have to go pick up a body or.
Were your other siblings?
Um,
Are you the oldest? Where do you fall in with your siblings?
they were way younger. They were younger than me.
You're the oldest.
I'm the middle child.
Okay. Okay. That makes me angry. As I'm sorry that you had to go through that. So why did he end up doing? Is he in jail now?
He's been in jail for 13 years.
Oh, he's been there 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been in contact with him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I've
Okay.
been in contact with him. It's kind of a long story.
Well, we're here. We're listening. You know, I don't want to, because here in Phases, it's not to judge you, and it's just to embrace you. And we make decisions that we're not proud of. And when you love somebody, you just love somebody.
Mhm.
But you need to love yourself more than that, right?
Yes.
So, what else is it
Okay, so he got locked up.
for?
He had went to Missouri whenever we broke up, and he was like, take me back, because then I found out I was pregnant with the last child.
Okay.
And he was like, take me back, and and I said no. I
Okay.
said I'm not doing it. You've almost killed the kids.
Yeah.
Trying to kill me. So I'm not doing it.
Right.
And I didn't see him for a whole week.
Okay.
And then my friend called me and she said, hey, have you seen
Mhm.
your baby daddy? I said no.
Mhm.
She said, turn on the TV. So I turned on the TV and he's all over the news. He had went to Carthage and like raped a 13-year-old girl.
Nikki,
Yes, girl.
how old was he?
He had just turned 21. It was his homeboy's little sister. And he had beat her and left her in a drainage ditch.
What did he go through? Why is he doing this? Okay, and left her in a ditch.
Crashed the car into a drainage ditch.
Uh-huh.
And somebody found her walking on the highway with just a sweater on in like -4-degree weather.
They caught him.
They caught him. He did 6.5 years for that, and then that revoked his 15
Right.
that he had on paper
Right.
for doing that to me. So he's been in prison since I was pregnant with our youngest child.
So he wasn't here for that, right, obviously. Have
He-
you been to see him? Yes.
The story.
Okay,
It
let's
sounds.
go.
It
I'm gonna
sounds,
let you talk.
It sounds crazy.
Okay,
but
no,
it
it's,
is-
it's okay. It is what it is, right?
It is good.
And so I'm listening.
So I wrote him. I wrote him for. He's been locked up 13 years. I wrote him for 10 years straight.
Uh-huh.
Letter every week, pictures of the kids. I will never send him money,
Right.
but I never missed a birthday card, never missed a Father's Day card, never missed a Christmas card. Like he was the love of my
Yeah.
life.
And that's all you've been with. I mean, that
Yeah.
after your first child, then it was just him, right?
Because we were together for 2 years before any of the craziness started
Okay.
happening.
Okay.
You know, we had a good relationship for 2 years. But then after about 10 years, my son came in the kitchen one day. I got off work, and he was like, do you have any colored pencils? And I said, no. And I was trying to cook, you know. And I said, why? And he's like, well, Dad wants me to draw him a picture of our house, and we can only use colored pencils. I said, I don't have any colored pencils. You know, I was busy cooking. And he said, how much is Daddy's bond? Like, how much is his bail?
Yeah.
And
How old is your son at this time?
he was 7,
Okay.
7 or 8.
Okay.
He was probably 8. And I just got so frustrated because he kept bothering me, and I was trying to cook. And I said, your dad doesn't have a bond. He's never getting out, Benjamin. He's never coming home.
Mm-hmm.
And he took his dad's letter, and he went in the room and fell asleep,
Mm-hmm.
crying.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point, I just sat back and just reflected on what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this man is never, I forgave him for everything,
Mhm.
and people ask me, why did you stay? Why did you stay so long? I stayed because I wanted to help him. His family didn't give a crap about him. When he went to school here, he didn't speak English that good.
Mm-hmm.
So like the teachers just kind of pushed him to the
Mhm.
side. Like nobody really cared about him.
Yeah.
And I knew the person he was before he started drinking.
Right.
So I was like, how can I be like, I'm his best friend. How can I be like everybody else and just
abandon him.
Yes, that's the last thing you need whenever you're an addict or
Right, but you think about it, and you're thinking about him, but what about you know, and your kids, and so how do you go back, you know, and how do you do after he did what he did,
And be normal.
and just be normal and feel like it's gonna be normal, because every time he told you he was sorry, and then every time he beat you so bad, you know, to almost to death, and so it's because you loved him,
Yeah.
so much, and you cared about him, and so you just start writing him. Once you sat back and you reflected, what are you thinking about? Like, am I gonna talk to him, or am I just gonna abandon him and just let it be me and my kids? What are your thoughts, and what is your path forward?
I totally stopped writing him for 2 years. And I just thought, who am I fooling? You know, this fairy tale life dream that we had, it's not gonna happen. You're not gonna get out and we're gonna be a happy family. Your kids are gonna be grown. Just, you know, our daughter's gonna be 18. You know, this fairy tale it's not happening. We're just trying to keep each other to not fall apart.
Right.
So I didn't write him for 2 years. And then that's when I started using drugs.
So what was your drug of choice?
Meth.
Okay. Never did anything?
I mean, I drank, you
Smoke
know.
weed or anything?
Yeah, when I was really
Okay.
young.
Okay. So you started using during the 2-year time you didn't write him?
Yes.
Okay. And what made you do, what caused it? When did you say yes to it, and why?
I said yes to it. My friend had it at work,
Mm-hmm.
and we did some like on our lunch break.
Yeah.
And then I had let her move in with me because she was having problems with her abusive boyfriend, and they had a baby. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
you can stay with me. We live together. We work together. We can work out this schedule. And then it just became that's all we did. It was get high.
Yeah.
And it just.
How long did you do drugs?
I've been clean for 144 days.
Yes,
Yay!
Good.
Yeah.
So how long did you do it before you just decided it was time to?
3.5 years.
So 3.5 years you're going through this drug use. You're not in contact with your kids' daddy, but you're just doing meth with this girl.
Yeah, doing meth with everybody now.
Now it's just out there.
Yeah. No, but nobody really knew except like the people that were doing drugs with me.
So it's just everybody in your circle was doing drugs.
Yeah.
So okay, at what point during that 3 years? Because you got children. At what point in that 3-year period did you say it's time out? I need help, and I need to go. I need to be somewhere to get me some help. I need to find a facility. I need somebody to help me. How did that happen?
Well, I tried a couple times.
On your own?
Yeah, on my own to get help. I tried to move away, and then it got worse.
When you moved away, you found somebody that had it wherever you went?
Yes.
It's everywhere, though.
It is.
It's everywhere, and it's an epidemic.
And
everybody's doing it.
It's so hard, and I would just. I mean, I lost everything. I lost my house, my car, my job. I got felonies on my record just for just stupid things that I would never do.
If you were yourself.
If I was myself. And
what happened to the kids?
The kids were there the whole time.
So you had your kids the whole time?
I had my kids the whole time until I started using in 2015, and then my kids got taken away from me in this year. But I have them back now.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had gotten really, really, really bad. I had lost like 80-something pounds. So everybody was like, "Oh my God,
Something's wrong."
Yeah, they knew. Everybody knew. My behavior was just out of control. Like I was just going around like I didn't have kids. Like I was just, you know, because they're older, they're teenagers, so they can, you know, feed themselves and, you know, get ready for school. So I was just kind of not. I mean, they had everything they needed, but except
But
me.
you let them do they were like raising themselves at that point.
Yes, they were pretty much raising themselves.
How did you use it? Did you snort it, shoot it, smoke it?
I smoked it.
Oh, smoked it. Okay. So then, how did you get help?
I got help when.
Oh, let's back up. I'm sorry. Any more abuse with the 3 years? He's gone. Any more abusive relationships?
I was in another abusive relationship.
After the fact.
Yes.
Okay. And he beat you up too?
It was just a one-time thing, but it was pretty bad. We got in a fight over, I was gonna go to Taco Bell and get them something to eat. It was him and my brother, and I had a friend over. It was like Friday night, and that was the only thing that was open. I didn't feel like cooking, and he was like, "Oh, you're gonna go to Taco Bell to see some boys?" And I was like, "You're drunk. You need to go to bed. You're out of control." And he went into the kitchen, and I heard the kitchen drawers opening, and that was just like a flashback of I'm about to get stabbed, or I'm about to get hit. So I called for my little brother, and my little brother came in there, and as soon as he was about to hit me, my little brother grabbed a skillet that was on the stove, and he hit him with it. So then I go out, I'm outside somehow, and they're fighting, and I'm jumping on his back trying to get him off my brother. The kids wake up at this time.
Poor kids.
And I'm out on the porch, and I'm getting beat, and he's twice my size. He has me by my hair, and he's slamming my face into the railing because we lived in an upstairs apartment. And then my little brother came outside with a steel pipe, like off a weight bench, and was beating him, trying to get him off of me, and still no.
My gosh. Was he on drugs?
The guy?
Was he using drugs?
He was just drunk.
Okay.
And it's raining outside, so the porch is slippery.
Oh,
There's a bike out on the porch, and I managed to get to the doorknob to go back in the house to get away, and it's locked. And I'm thinking, why did my brother lock the door and leave me out here? So then finally, at that time, he has me in a corner, and he took my daughter's bike and is slamming the bike on top of me. And I'm like, stop, like you're gonna break my neck, because I've been beat up so many times that I can stay focused enough to be like, okay, if I move this way, my neck's gonna break. If I do this, you know what I mean? So my brother finally comes out and hits him one more time, and he's like, "Run, Nicole!" And I ran down the steps, and we lived out in the country, and I just sat in the road and waited because it took the police a while to get there because we lived out of town kind of, and the police came, and then I got in the car, and they're like, "We have to check on your son," and I'm like, "What? My son? What's going on?" And I go upstairs, and my 6-year-old is sitting there, and he's covered in blood from his head all the way down.
Why?
Because he had ran out on the porch and was like, "Get off my mom, get off my mom." And whenever my brother was hitting the guy with the pole, when he went back,
The baby was back.
it nicked him in the head, but busted his head open. So he had to go in the ambulance, get his head glued back together.
Wow.
And that guy went to jail. And at the time, my kids' dad was in jail because they had just transferred him from Missouri. So they got a call saying, you know how like in jail they put like the different races together? Well, he's Pacific Islander, so they kind of keep them together.
Right.
Well, they told the jailer like, "Hey, we got one of your buddies coming in for domestic assault and child abuse," because they thought that he had hit my son. Well, my kids' dad knew that we were the only people like that race in that town.
Right.
So he's thinking, that's my baby mama and that's my kid.
Right.
So whenever he went to jail, that got taken care of.
Oh my gosh. Lord, Nikki. Okay. All right. That's, okay. It's all good. So you get into drugs. It's been 3 years, and who takes you to where, how do you get a place? Because it's so hard to get into a facility. What process did you have to go through? Because you have to have your mind made up. You can't just go to rehab and say, I'm going to do it and not. And so you've been clean for quite a long time. So you were ready to go. You were done.
I was actually on my way to go to the doctor, and I had just got done getting high. And I told my friend, I said, you know what? I said, because my little boy, he used to still sleep with me. He's 12. He didn't get out of my bed until like over the summer.
That's okay.
He would still sleep with me. And
my kids too.
And I remember laying in bed at night, and he would stay up and wait, and I would be up all night because I was high.
Yeah.
And he would stay up and wait for me to go to bed. And sometimes it'd be 4 a.m, and he would still be up waiting. And I looked at my friend, and I said, I'm done doing drugs. I said, I don't ever want to have to not be able to lay next to him and look at his perfect little face. I got to change. I got to do it. And I walked out the door to go to the doctor, and there was 9 police at my house, 3 in the front, 3 on the side, and 3 in the back.
For what?
Because I had a bail jumping charge.
Oh,
a
Lordy.
stinking bail jumping charge. That was it. Because I didn't go to court whenever
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I go to jail.
Yeah.
I'm in jail for 7 days. and somebody had called DHS
Mm-hmm.
and said that their mom is in jail and they're unsupervised, they're running amok.
Mm-hmm.
So DHS came and took my kids.
Okay.
And I didn't know that DHS had taken my kids until I got out of jail.
So did you know where they were?
They told
Is
me,
it a facility where they take them
yeah, but it was
once they get them?
it was out of town.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, what do I have to do? You know, and DHS was like, well, we've kind of been in your life for the past 3 years, because they would get calls once in a while like, oh, their mom is on drugs.
Yeah.
But then when DHS would come to my house,
Mhm.
my house is clean.
Yep.
I have a job. I look like a normal person.
They would have never
So
known.
they had no idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're like, you know,
Kind of like a functioning drug addict, but they say it's not
It's
such thing as a
impossible.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but you were functioning, but you were still getting high.
yeah, not mental. Like on the outside, I was
looked at-
functioning,
yeah,
but
but
in here,
yes.
I was a total
Gone.
disaster.
Right.
So I said, what do I got to do? And they're like, you know, get into treatment. That'll help. I was in rehab within a week, and
Where'd you go?
I went to Monarch in Muskogee.
Okay, so you went directly to Monarch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I called and they had a bed for me within like 5 days.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah,
That's good.
and it was great. Rehab, it really changed me, and it let me know, like, whenever I said that before I walked out the door, like, oh, I'm gonna change now,
Mhm.
and then I got arrested. Like, that was
Mhm.
God telling me,
It's time.
it ain't your time.
That's right.
Like, you
It
should
ain't-
have.
That's it.
You're trying to say, oh, you're gonna do it now. Well, it's too late. It's on my time.
It's uh-huh.
And
Oh gosh, yes.
Yes,
Make
girl.
chills. That's right.
And-
He will. You wouldn't listen to me. Now I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna set
intervene
you-
because I need you to be a mother for your kids.
Mhm.
I need you to live a good life, and I need you to do all these things. And since you wouldn't listen, I'm gonna sit you right where you need to be.
Mhm. And that's
my way.
And that is exactly.
Yep.
Exactly what he did.
Yeah.
And we had to, in rehab, we had to write our life story.
Oh wow.
It was supposed to be 25 pages long,
Mhm.
and it was supposed to be able so we can, you know, get out, you know, tell our story and, you know, help us get over it and get through it, close chapters,
Right.
close pages,
Right.
and move forward.
Right.
Well, my life story was like 72 pages.
Well, yeah.
It was very long. And most of it was about the kids' dad and
Mhm.
abuse and stuff like that. And after I was done, I decided to write the kids' dad.
Mhm.
I had talked to him a little bit in between. 2 years after that, I read him a letter and explained to him like I was getting high, and that's why I haven't written him.
Right.
But so we had kind of talked in between, and I wrote him a letter and said, hey, this is what's going on. The kids have gotten taken. I'm in rehab because of my drug problem.
Mhm.
You know, I think you should know. Well, whenever I was telling my life story, I was crying,
Of course.
and they're like, well, what is it going to take for you to get closure and be able to move on?
Mhm.
And I said, I need to sit face to face, not through a letter, not on the
Right.
phone, with their dad,
Mhm.
and explain to him and say everything that I need to say,
Mhm.
that I never got to say because I was always getting
Yeah.
beat.
Yeah.
I said, and when I can do that and I can tell him what I've been going through while he's been gone, what he did to me,
Mhm.
what all his abuse and the mental abuse and the
Yes.
all of that.
Because I'm surprised you didn't start doing drugs before
It
that.
took me 10 years to start
You
doing
know.
drugs. Yeah.
Because that'll drive you to doing something, maybe depression.
Mhm. Oh yeah, I've been depressed. I have PTSD, anxiety, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and it was such a young age.
Yeah, I was very young.
Whenever you went to rehab and you were trying to, the process of coming off the drugs, was that hard for you? Because I hear sometimes meth is not that much. Like heroin is really bad to come
Mhm.
off of, but meth is, you can really do it if you really got your mind made up, and it's
Mhm.
not as hard on you as maybe heroin is or something. So how
No.
did you?
It wasn't that hard. I just slept
You slept it off.
a lot,
Mhm.
and I ate.
Mhm.
I've gained 60 pounds.
Yeah, you look good. You
Thank
look
you.
so pretty.
Thank you.
You really do. Well, I'm glad that you were able to get help.
Mhm.
And I'm glad you got your kids back. I just hope that by you coming here, because I didn't know that you had written your story out, because I feel like the reason that Phases was created, that I created Phases, was to let people have a platform to come and get it out. Because I think a lot of times when you talk about it,
Mhm.
instead of holding it in, then that's healing. That's a healing
It is.
mechanism, right? And not only are you doing that, but you know how much abuse is going on in this world?
Mhm.
Do you know how much meth use is drug
Yes.
use period is going on in this world? And people are not like you. They came into your house thinking they're going to get your kids, but you looked amazing to them.
Yeah.
Everything's good here, but not really.
Mhm.
And people they're not talking about it.
Mhm.
They're not talking about it. So I'm proud of you, and I hope that you continue your journey. What I want to pray for, is that if you do connect back with your kid's dad, that he's well, and that he keeps you, that you keep yourself well for your kids.
Yeah, we got to have closure actually.
So you got to see him face to face.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I hadn't seen him in 6.5 years.
Is he where that? Because I guess in prison you can go and you can physically.
Yeah, we've never done that.
It's through a window.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I've never taken the kids to see their dad.
Okay. So
And-
he hasn't seen them in all these years, only in pictures.
Only pictures. And I had been praying while I was in rehab because my addiction and my inside of me, it's because I don't have closure
Yeah.
with their dad. I feel like I can't move forward anywhere in my life.
Mhm.
And I prayed about it and prayed about it and prayed about it. And I wrote the kids' dad a letter telling him what was going on, and the letter got sent back. They said that he wasn't there. Well, when I went to court a week later for DHS for the kids, there was an inmate sitting in the courtroom with his head down, and I was thinking, why is there an inmate in here? It's supposed to be private family.
Right.
And he lifted his head up, and it was their dad.
He asked them to bring him there?
The DHS people brought him there. They didn't tell me. They didn't tell the kids. And I almost threw up.
Yeah.
I was like, because I was like, just
Yes.
crazy emotions.
Yes.
It was
Wow.
insane. And, they let him know, and they kept him down there in court for
Mhm.
about 3 months while all this was going on. And so I got to visit him between a window, but it was face to face. And I got that. I got what I prayed for. I got what I asked for.
There's a God, right?
Girl, yes.
And he answers our prayers.
He does.
And he gives us what we need. Because you needed that closure, he made a way.
And I knew that I was doing everything. Like, as soon as my kids got taken, I was like, I'm done. And when they got taken, nobody came to foster care and pick them up. I have no family that gives a crap.
Yeah.
Well, I have a brother, and a sister that care, but not really.
Yeah.
Nobody from his family. My
Yeah.
daughter ran away 7 times
Oh.
within 2 months.
Yeah.
So I pushed through, and I made it through, and God is lining up everything that I'm doing in
Amen.
life. He's lining it up. And last week I got an email saying that I start Saturday at the domestic
Yes,
violence.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad for that. I'm happy for that because you have a story.
That's my dream.
You have.
And girl, he
God,
is lining it
God,
up.
He did. You know what? Everything that we go through in life, we have to go through those things just in the order that he has laid out because it's already written.
Girl.
And eventually we're going to get exactly where we're supposed. Everywhere we are in life is where we're supposed to be.
And it's on
And
his
so
time.
Saturday is like you're walking into.
Yes, girl.
What did
I
look
went
at
and I
this
walked.
smile.
I could not be so. I cried when I got the email.
Yes.
Because of that.
This is accomplishments.
Ever since
These are accomplishments.
Ever since I went through that, I just remember I wished there was somebody there that would have saved me or that would have
Yes.
got me out because I didn't have anybody helping me.
Yeah. A person, I have a story too, not like, it's not, mine is different, right? Everybody's story is different. But when I got help at first from somebody with what I was going through, he just said, you know what, pay it forward. I'm going to help you. And I don't want nothing from you. I just want you to help somebody else. And I've been trying to do that ever since. And that was way back in 2003. Help somebody else. And that's all I've been trying to do. And when you help people, when you serve people, and when you forgive, you said, I forgave him. When you forgive, you can live life.
Mhm.
Because when you don't forgive, it'll eat you up. You gotta forgive. I know it's bad and it's horrible what he did, but you had to forgive him to get to Saturday, right?
Girl, I'm so excited.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Well, I'm
so
glad
excited.
you're here. I'm glad you came. Know that I'm here for you. That we just met today.
I'm so happy.
I am too, but I'm here. I'm a phone call away. If Crystal's not available, you call me if you need, if you need to talk. I don't care what time it is. This is what I'm here for, to help. And this is going to go out to so many people.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I can't wait to see the response.
Me too.
And I'll keep you
I
posted.
hope I can help somebody.
I'll keep you posted, okay?
Awesome.
All right, well, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for being
you.
here. This was amazing. Thank you to Nikki. And you guys have a blessed night. Don't forget to say your prayers. Keep Nikki in your prayers. Keep Phases the Next Level in your prayers. And have a good night. Thank you.
Bye, guys.